G'day, I'm Osiris and welcome to iMoto. Today I'm going to show you how to reduce the weight on 2021 Kawasaki KLX150BF for free. The tools that you need for this job are an 8, 10 and 12mm socket, a pair of side cutters or something similar to cut zip ties, 4, 5 and 6mm hex keys, 8mm, 10mm and 14mm spanners. The 14mm spanner and the 12mm socket are in the stock toolkit. I'm going to weigh the bike to get a baseline. It's got a full tank of fuel, and other than that, the bike's pretty much stock. $121.2 kilograms. First, remove the left passenger foot peg with a 6mm hex key. Then we'll remove the right hand passenger foot peg, also with a 6mm hex key. Supporting it while you unscrew it makes it a bit easier. Pillion pegs, that's their bolts. Come in at 1,167 grams. Next, we'll remove the right hand side frame guard. Do this with a 5mm hex key. Then supporting the guard, get a pair of side cutters or similar, anything really, just to cut the zip tie at the top and remove. We'll remove the left hand side guard by removing the bolt first with a 5mm hex key. Then supporting the guard with one hand and cutting the zip tie with side cutters or similar. The frame guard plus its bolts come in at 103.5 grams. Next thing we'll do to access the side case and the seat strap is remove the left hand side cover. We'll do this with an 8mm socket. Now we'll remove the left hand side cover to get access to the tool case and to the seat strap. Once the bolt is removed, pull the cover out and away from the bike to release the posts from the grommets on the bike. Now, there are 3 posts and 3 grommets. Now we'll remove the seat strap bolt with a 5mm hex key. Just keep an eye on the washer. It comes loose pretty easy and it's the same color as the strap. To finish off removing the seat strap, we'll remove the right hand side cover. Use an 8mm socket to remove the side cover bolt. Then we'll pull the side cover away from the bike from front to back, releasing the posts from their relevant grommets. 1, 2, 3 posts and 1, 2, 3 grommets. Next we'll remove the other seat strap bolt with a 5mm hex key. Once again, keep an eye out for this washer as it comes off easily and it's the same color as the strap. The seat strap plus its bolts come in at 48 grams. Next we'll remove the tool case. To do this we need to remove this bolt with a 10mm socket and this bolt up under here, which is a bit hard to see, with an 8mm spanner. First we'll start taking the bolt on the side off with a 10mm socket. Once the side bolt's out, support the weighted tool case with your hand, grab an 8mm spanner, come in from underneath the bike and begin to loosen it. The tool kit, this tool case, comes in at 889 grams. We'll put the side cover back. To do that, we need to get these tabs to go under their relevant place on the seat, and also get these 3 posts to go into their relevant grommets. Now, for this, I find it's easiest to hook the tabs under, then to start inserting the grommets from front to back and putting your hand behind them to give some force to resist against. And we'll just do it now. So tabs in first, and making sure the grommets are secure. The middle grommet's not too bad because it presses against the frame. Return the side cover bolt, hand tightening it first to make sure it's not cross-threaded. Once it's in a good chunk of the way, finish it off with an 8mm socket. Now, I'm not sure what the torque values are, but I'll chuck them up on the screen. Now, the torque values on the screen are just minimum estimates. I'm not actually sure what the bulk grades are on this bike or what the real torque values are. You can turn the side cover by getting these tabs to go into their relevant place, hooking under the seat, and these posts intersecting with their relevant grommets. Setting the tabs first, then pushing the posts into their relevant grommets. Find it's easier for the front and back one to put your hand behind, just to give it something to push against, and the middle one's okay because press against the frame. Once the posts are in their relevant grommets, reinsert the side cover bolt, starting off by hand, making sure it's not cross-threaded. Once again, I'll put what I think the minimum torque values are on the screen, same as the other side. Then finish it off with an 8mm socket. Again, just firm and don't over tighten. Next, we'll remove the kickstart lever with a 12mm socket. And it's best to completely remove this bolt before you start pulling it off the splines. That way you don't even risk the bolt scratching the splines. Now, with the kickstart lever taken off this way, just be cautious that now this is an exposed piece of metal. And of course, if you were to crash or the bike will land on you, it could put a lot of pressure on your boot and maybe even penetrate. So make sure you're wearing good quality boots and just keep it in mind. The kickstart lever comes in at 512 grams. Next, we'll remove the exhaust guard with a 4mm hex key. Now, just be aware that once the exhaust guard is off, obviously you will no longer be protected from the hot exhaust, and you might burn your leg. That said though, a lot of aftermarket exhausts don't even come with heat shields, so do it at your own risk. Now, make sure you keep an eye on this washer. Usually sticks to the rubber, but it can also fall off. Same for the other side. The exhaust heat shield plus its bolts come in at under 11.5 grams. Next, we'll remove the foot peg rubber. To this, you'll need an 8mm socket to remove the bolt. Completely remove the bolt, peel the rubber back, and there'll be a spacer. Just remove that because it's just been held in with friction. Now peel both sides of the rubber back, and that will like partially release it, and then pull up from the top, and then you're done. You'll probably want to do this if you're going off-road anyways. Then we repeat the process on the other side of the bike, using an 8mm socket to remove the rubber foot peg bolt. Once the bolt is removed, pull the spacer out. Once the spacer is out, peel both sides of the rubber back, and then pull from the top to release. The foot peg rubbers plus their bolts come in at 137.5 grams. Next we'll remove the handguards. This might vary on your bike, but on the case of my bike, the bolts we need to access are actually in the way of the mirror. So we'll just adjust the mirror to the side, first by pulling the rubber up so you can access the bolt. Then get a 14mm spanner and then just loosen it off. Once it's loose, you'll be able to turn it out of the way and you should be able to access everything easy now. Start by removing the bolt on the top with a 10mm socket. Then we'll remove the nut on the bottom with a 10mm socket. Then also remove the spacer. You'll need a 12mm socket to release the bolt on the top, at the same time as putting a 10mm spanner into the bottom just to hold that nut in place. Now, you don't have to undo it all the way, just enough so you can get it around the bolt. Then pull the guard out around the cables. Next, we'll snug the lever bolt back down, once again by using a 10mm spanner to hold the nut in place. Then tightening the bolt with a 12mm socket. Again, I'll look up the torque values and chuck them up. Again, not sure, just treat these as a minimum, not a maximum. And as always, it's easier to tighten something than it is to deal with strip bolts. Now, just get it firm, don't over tighten it. Now I'm going to turn the spacer and the nut because I'm not really a huge fan of how much bolt is exposed. Start off by hand tightening it and tightening it off with a 10mm socket. Again, just getting it firm. I'll put torque values up if I can find them. But again, just minimum values. Pull the mirror back into place and then use the 14mm spanner to snug it down. Again, I'll put a torque value up, but just nice and firm and don't over tighten. Now we repeat the process on the other side of the bike. In this case, the top bolt isn't in the way of the mirror at all, so you can go straight to undoing it with a 10mm socket. Then undoing the nut on the bottom, also with a 10mm socket. In this case, the space is actually loose and already coming off straight away. So just keep an eye on that, otherwise it'll fall off and you'll lose it. Use a 10mm spanner to restrain the nut at the bottom, and then a 12mm socket to loosen the bolt on top. Now, you usually don't have to undo it all the way, just most of the way, and then slide the handguard off. To finish it off, once again, restrain the bottom nut with a 10mm spanner and tighten the top bolt with a 12mm socket. Get it nice and firm. Once again, I'll put the torque values up on the screen if I can find them. Probably just get an average minimum one. Sliding the spacer on first, followed by the nut. Hand tightening first. The other advantage of putting these nut and spacer back on, it gives you a little bit of insurance for the bolt backing out. Tightening it off with a 10mm socket. Make sure not to over tighten. Again, I'll chuck some min torque values up. The handguards plus the bolts come in at 167 grams. Last we'll move the bash plate, and I'll do that by removing these 5 bolts with an 8mm socket. Now for taking it off, I find it's easier to start at the bottom. Loose everything up first. Then take the bolts out, starting from the back and heading to the front. Then when you get to the top bolts, just support the weight of the bash plate with your hand. And then once all the bolts out, just lower it off. Bash plate plus its bolts come in at 293.5 grams. Now that's done, we'll reweigh the bike and see how much progress we made. And 117.7. So in the end, was it worth it? I don't know, but hey, at least it was free. This way, at least you guys can decide for yourself whether it's worth it for you. I'll put the weights down in the description, you can make your own mind up. Personally, I'm gonna put most of the stuff back on the bike anyways. Something I found disappointing about the process was that the bike's end weight was just about what Kawasaki claimed its starting weight should have been, so that's a bit dodgy, I'll have to look into that. Now I've just taken what I think is road legal in Australia still, but I'm not a cop, I'm not a lawyer, so please double check your local jurisdiction first, because I don't want you to get in trouble because of something I say. Thanks for watching, I hope you learned something. If you like the video, give it a like. If you dislike the video, give it a dislike. You know, any comments, please leave them. I can't learn without feedback. I'm probably gonna be making a bunch more videos on the KLX as I keep doing work on it. So if you're interested in that, feel free to subscribe. Anyways, thanks again and see you on the next one.